Grown Women Real Talk. My name is Yolanda Lewis, host of the Grown Women Real Talk show. And today we have some absolutely amazing guests joining us because we are going to talk about man of my dreams, does he exist? Today I have with me Ty Norman.
Hello.
I have English Norman. And I have Anthony Phillips. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so let's jump right into the thick of things. I want to hear from you. Where do you think the man of my dreams concepts even come from?
As a woman?
As a woman, and
then
as a male.
As a young child,
Yes.
or a daughter, fairy tale.
Right.
Knight in shining armor.
Right.
So I'm thinking this man's going to ride in. He's going to come in and, you know, we're going to be together. Everything is going to be happily ever after.
Forever.
Forever.
He's tall. He's got a chiseled out Ken-looking
Exactly.
body.
Exactly. Because we, as young girls, are looking at what we actually see. That's on TV. That's your Keanu Reeves and your Tom Hanks and things like that when you're young. And so it's going to be your Ken dolls from Barbie.
It is.
So
it is. And I believe it creates this level of fantasy, which I would imagine might be frustrating for men. So I'd love to hear from you guys on the conflict, if you will, this whole image of man of my dreams presents.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Well, for me, my perspective on it is kind of unrealistic. For a lot of women, I found that throughout my years of kind of searching for my wife, or so that I, I ran into a few women that it was certain things that they were looking for that was completely out of the perspective, and someone in a sense of, hey, I want, I make six figures. I want him to make six figures. I want him to drive a Bentley GT, and it's just kind of certain things, and it's like, no, you might not get that. Just really specific,
not just a regular Bentley.
Really specific, but to the point so much so to where they actually rule out really good guys. So that's for me, it's kind of just unrealistic.
Yeah, I think what I've seen is popular culture has just completely destroyed the perception of reality, but also it's presented the wrong grading scale. So you have women looking for, a guy who's popping bottles and driving a fancy car and spending a lot of money on whining and dining. When what you should really be looking for is a man who's going to be responsible, a man who's going to love your children, a man who's going to hang in there through the difficult times, who has a relationship with God, who's going to be consistent and long-standing.
I love that.
That's good.
And the two things that what you should be looking for and what popular culture is promoting are exact opposites.
They are. That's bipolar opposites. They're
bipolar.
And so, that leads me right into the next question, which is, what do you think prevents women from accepting? Because it's not that women don't know that they want, like, that guy would be labeled as the nice guy. Am I wrong?
Correct.
Am I wrong?
You are not wrong.
Okay.
you are not wrong. That's all over the place. I'll tell you. And I agree with the guys here. I think that you rule out a really, really good guy because relationship comes accountability.
It does.
And I think that's the missing screw to all of the pieces.
I love that.
Accountability.
I love that.
You can have a list of who you would prefer. And God brings those people into existence. However, there's not just this one person. There's prospects, and then you have to be accountable and make a decision.
That's right. And I think that level of accountability, too, flips over to what you bring to the table.
Definitely.
So, as you mentioned with the females, prior to the Queen Time.
Yes.
In dating them, I would ask you, actually, do you find challenges in having them even meet the criteria of someone who would drive a Benz or a Bentley and all this GT, blah, blah, blah? What does she have to bring to the table for that type of guy? I think accountability falls into that as well. So I'd love to hear you guys' perspective too. Like, you're looking for me to make six figures, and you don't even make two. So
that's true.
So is that true?
Is true. That is absolutely very true. I found again, over the years, even with my own sister, and and female cousins, and and so I've had to talk to them over the years to kind of say, hey, look, I understand that this is the type of man that you want, but what are you bringing to him? It's not a one-way street. It's a two-way thing. It's not. So, a man that's making, six figures, he may be a multi-millionaire or whatever the case may be, unfortunately, doesn't work that way. So my thing is, with her, I always tell her is what are you bringing or what are you putting out to actually attract what it is that you're looking for. So you can't think that this man is just going to find you if... Okay, well, you don't roll in the same circles as
you're not on my
level. You don't roll in the same circles as this man. So for you to think that he's just supposed to come and find you, and everything that he has is perfect, but nothing that you have right now is where it needs to be. You still have student loan debt. You still haven't found a house to live in on your own. So it's those things. But some women, they do have they have this thing where they feel like, well, no, I'm supposed to. You're supposed to receive this type of man without having to put anything else into it.
And what's interesting about that is the fact that it's deeper than that. It's deeper than just the car and how much money he makes and all of this. Because at the end of the day, in a marital relationship, you need him to match you on every level. Not just on the finances and what it looks like on the outside. But I need you to know how to be able to handle me. I need you to know how to be able to be patient with me. All of those qualities that you were talking about, because I'm still growing. So long as we are alive and have breath in our body, there's room to grow and a place to grow too. So, I mean, what about you, Ty? Did you find in your relationship that once you got together, everything was, cupcakes and gumdrops, and it was just wonderful?
A field full of lilies. But like I was talking to my husband about it, and I was just letting him know, this is going to sound really, really harsh. Trash, internal, attracts trash. And so what I had to learn coming into our relationship is, hey, you need to dump the trash, because I'm not going to tolerate it. And you got to start cleaning things up. And so together, on the patient, just to piggyback, he became really, really patient with me, but he also was very firm to let me know, hey,
I love that.
We're not doing this. You're going to be accountable.
Yes. Talk to me about that in today's modern dating world, how that looks.
Well, first, let me drop a couple bombs.
Okay.
Come on, Tony.
I love it. Go ahead.
So we talked about, what is that six-figure guy and everything want? Well, I will tell you. I was that six-figure guy with the washboard stomach. If I met a woman...
You was Ken doll.
If I met a woman and I really liked her, our third date would be in another city by plane.
Wow.
I mean, so it was, it was like that. But I didn't want a woman who was, balling and doing all these things. I wanted a wife who was going to help me build a family, who was going to support me in the things that I was doing, emotionally support me, a woman who had intuition. So when I had meetings, business meetings and things like that, she could say, yeah, I like the character of that person. I don't. I needed a woman who was going to help build our household and our family. And I wasn't necessarily looking for her to match me in income or, match me in terms of like the big things she was doing. Now, it was important that she was intelligent. It was important that she had something going on, that she was, that she had goals and she had passion. But I wasn't looking for a six-figure woman. I had the money. I was like, I don't need that. I need some balance. So yeah.
So what about now? Do you still feel the same in terms of, because you said you were looking for a six-figure woman? You were not. Excuse me. You were that six-figure guy looking for a woman who could balance you out. Are you still looking for that, or has that changed? Like, was that a previous time in your life where you were younger, something like that, where now you wouldn't date the same?
So that was when I was in my 20s. now many years later,
right.
After many experiences,
sure.
I think it's still similar.
Still the same. Okay.
Yeah,
Good.
I'm not looking for a woman who's got a bunch of money. The biggest thing is what Ty said, that you're clean inside.
Right.
That's it.
That you've got some spiritual maturity, that you're patient, that you're going to, love me and our children through whatever obstacles come, because the obstacles will come.
Yes, they
will
do.
come.
Yes, they do.
And so that's probably the most important, is that clean soul.
Right. So how do you notice that? Like in Ty, what stood out? We know, because she just shared, that she had some work to do, but she's gorgeous. You can look at her and she's drop dead. So how does a guy really see like those qualities in a woman when she spends most of her time, and even the first meet, the first part of it is all physical. You've got to be attracted to your mate.
That's
true.
Amen.
I mean, all these qualities are good,
Amen.
but you still.
Oh,
can we have some grown real talk? Okay,
Exactly.
or grown men real talk too.
Yeah.
Okay, you have to be attracted. That's
Definitely.
real. That's
True.
real.
Yeah.
So after that, how do you find, if you will, like check off your list? Or that's actually that's a great segue to the next question. Do men have a dream woman kind of list? You guys aren't raised that way. You guys are raised to play trucks, whatever. You guys aren't even raised to work. They're just raised to play. I mean, I'm just saying. If you look at childhood, women are raised, or young girls are raised. They got Barbie dolls.
Correct.
What do you get as toys? Kitchen sets, vacuums.
That's true.
Right.
And now they have
true.
stuff like they have dolls that are hairstylist dolls. But even still, it's work. It's responsibility.
That's true.
Men don't have that. There's no, what do you got? A little tool, carpenter, something, drums, music, all that kind of stuff. Well, with that being said, how do you guys get to the place where you are able to recognize a woman like Ty and a woman that gives you balance, the woman that you need? How do you see those inner qualities after the physical? How do you see that? What is the secret sauce to that?
Well, the first thing that you said that's right is we have this physical attraction.
Right.
And a lot of times, especially before you've matured, that's the end of it.
Right.
Honestly,
you're
for
like,
men, yes.
What's the hottest woman I can
Right.
get?
Right.
It's almost a game.
Yeah, it's almost a game. And it's very dangerous.
It is.
Not only for men, but it's dangerous for women, because
Definitely.
you really can treat a good woman poorly if you're in that mindset.
Right.
And I think what you have to do is you have to develop a list that's based upon character. So for me, now I'm single now, second time around.
Right.
I look for a woman who is athletic. That's just, I'm a really athletic, healthy eater kind of person.
Right.
And so I know that's going to complement my lifestyle.
Right.
I look for a woman who is very spiritual, because I'm doing things in ministry, and I know I need to have a woman by my side that's going to support that and help me build what I feel like God's called me to build. Right. And then I look for a woman who is going to be a great mother.
Right.
Yeah.
Because as a man, this is what my father taught me, and it's unfortunately a lot of us don't have good fathers in our home. But he taught me that your children come first. A good man is prepared to die for his wife and children.
Right.
Yeah.
So you want a woman who is going to take care of your children because you would do anything for them and for her because she's attached to them as well.
Absolutely.
So so that list has to go far beyond. And how do you tell?
Yeah, how do you
it's
see
in the
that?
conversation.
Okay.
It's really in the you can't just look at what a woman looks like.
Right.
It's in what she talks about. The thing for me is, will she hold herself accountable?
Right.
And do to things in her past.
Right.
So she'll say, I had issues that I had to overcome. Because
Right.
everyone has something they have to overcome.
Everybody. And if they're not transparent about that, you should walk away.
That's right. Then they're not.
Yes.
And the second thing, is she humble?
I love that, Tony. So English, I want to hear from you. How do you know this, the signs? How can you see those inner qualities that you need to have for a mate? How do you see that after the first meeting? What are the ways you guys can tell?
Oh, wow. Well, as far as Ty is concerned, when I first met Ty,
she was the winner.
You know what? Actually, she was. The funny thing about it is she's absolutely gorgeous to look at.
She's beautiful.
But for me, I looked beyond that even initially because I was at a point where I had dealt with so many other women to where I was like, you know what?
Yeah.
I don't care how good you look.
Right.
I need to know that you have substance, that there is more than just your looks, because at the end of the day, your looks are going to fade at some point in time, and I need to know that you're going to be there for me. So it was certain things and certain qualities and stuff that I was looking for. And the funny thing is, I actually did somewhat have a list myself.
Right. Okay,
as a man, I had a list. So it was just certain qualities and certain, like you said, just certain things that we look for. Our mothers, even though we're not given toys as young boys or so to kind of, this is going to lead us up. But our mothers somewhat are our first point of contact as a woman. Right. So, you kind of look for, a woman that somewhat has some of the same qualities. I know for my mother, she was a stay-at-home mom. And it wasn't because she wanted to. It was because my father wanted her to stay there and raise us. And that's what she did. But it was the way that she handled everything in the household from top to bottom. She kept a budget. She kept her car clean. Wow. Funny story is, when we first met, we actually went out. I actually invited her over to my house. At the time, she was a little nervous. So she called me and she was like, oh, well, I think it's a little too late. I'm not going to be able to come this time. I said, okay, well, I don't know what it is. Maybe it was something I said, whatever the case may be. So I said the next time, let's go ahead and set up another, another date or whatever the case was. So she came over and she was like, well, I'll come and pick you up. First thing I did, Tony, was look in the back seat of her car. I said, wow. I said, I'm sorry. So if you live out of your car like this, I can only imagine how your house looked. But, saying that to say, once we actually got deeper into it, and, we start learning even more about each other, like she said, there were things in her life that at that point in time, completely out of control. Completely out of control. So, for me, looking beyond her beauty or whatever, it was finding those qualities where she would step up and say, no, I own who I am. Where I've been, what I've done, and, some of the things that I've kind of gotten myself into, but I'm willing to move past all of it. I need a man like you that's going to help me to do that. So,
And so in order for me to take accountability, and I'm sorry to interject, I literally gave him a box full of my journals. It was about 50 journals. And I told him, as we began to progress in our relationship and he would learn different things, he would come over to my house and he would run his finger
that's the secret.
On the corners and see how dusty things were. My car was evident. Okay, she has what it takes and she has the capabilities, and that's what we were starting off saying. You have the capabilities, don't sweep everything, underneath the carpet. Address those things. And so I gave him my journals over time, and when we started courting and just sort of getting to know each other, I let him know, I said, I want you to read through these journals because this is who I am. This is what I've been through, and this is where I like to go. Beyond this point, I want to heal from this, and I need you. Here's where I need you. And I told him, I said, when you propose to me, I want you to think about who you're actually marrying. And that's the way that I took accountability. In no way, shape, or form am I saying to the audience, hey guys, this is what you need to do in order to prove yourself that you want to take responsibility. But you do at the end of the day, because if you don't, you're going to continue to get hurt. You're going to go into the relationship assuming that he's the knight in shining armor when he's just your husband. That's a significant role, but he is just
Talk
still
about
in
that though, really quick. Talk about that. What does that mean, just your husband, in terms of bringing those issues into the relationship?
My past was domestic violence. My past was molestation. And so unfortunately I came in broken. I wanted to be healed, and I needed help with that. And I got the help that I needed. However, once we actually got married our first year, if I were sick, if I had a headache, I wanted him to make me well. Get it together. You need to figure it out. If I'm not feeling well, make it happen for me. I want you to make me well. If this is not working for me, if I've had a bad day, make my day better. And then quickly, I had to really realize, no, ma'am. No, ma'am. You have to address those issues. He is just your husband. And like I explained to you guys, just sort of reading and spiritually growing, in God and reading and things, I learned very quickly that I'm not going to let you be in that type of bondage. Right. Love your spouse enough to know, or love the person that you're going into a relationship enough to know, hey, this dump is not on you. Right. It was on me. Let's address the issue.
Right.
And it's pretty intense. It got pretty intense.
It is intense. I have one more question. The last question is, with that being said, how do women, and I think I want the guys to answer this part, how do women prepare for that man of the dreams? We've kind of defined what he is and what he's not, and really what he, I guess, the place he should have even. So then how do women prepare for that? Ty, she gave some of the answer, but I want to hear from you guys. From a man's perspective, his expectation of how she should prepare for that place.
Yeah, let me build a little bit off of what Ty shared.
Sure.
Because when I got married, I think my wife had some of the same issues, but she didn't handle it the way that you did.
Right.
Unfortunately, she tried to be somebody who she thought I wanted.
Right.
And didn't share, didn't share journals, didn't share the hurt and the pain.
Wow.
Even to the point where I think that if you need therapy, don't be ashamed of that.
Definitely.
Get the help that you need and deal with that pain from the past. Everybody has been hurt, some more deeply than others.
Absolutely.
And you've got to clean out that closet before you go into marriage. Sure. Marriage is a redemptive relationship in that two people become one. So you literally, two people crack their souls open and unite. And when you crack that soul open, everything you've been hiding is going to come oozing out. And so if it's not cleaned out before you get into marriage, you can best believe it will be cleaned out when you get into marriage.
In your relationship.
And marriage is that opportunity to heal.
Absolutely.
But if you're not prepared to deal with what comes out, your husband, your spouse, they can't do it for you.
Right. It's so true. I actually come from a similar background as to your wife or ex-wife as well. And it's not that easy to seek help. It's very easy to become something you're not because that's what you've done to survive. Yes. So I do want to, I don't want anyone to feel like that it's wrong per se to make that transition, but more so like Ty's example, take accountability. And healing. So yes, in healing. So for me, my issues were helped in the marriage. So I actually don't think for me, because of what I experienced, I could have gotten that same level of healing if my husband wasn't strong enough and willing to, once we were both cracked open, to be able to have my back, and vice versa, because I was broken. But I had some strengths too. I had some, I wasn't bad, all bad. So even for that woman, she's not all bad just because she has work to do. There's things that you can give to him too, because again, in that you have to be able to see both sides, because otherwise you'll stay stuck in keeping him as your savior, that man, and he's not. You give to each other. So for while the beginning part of the relationship might be focused on you and getting through some of those issues, trust and believe he's going to need you to be supportive and lean on him as well. Right. Wow. Amazing dialogue. I would love to chat further, and maybe we will. So thank you guys for being open and vulnerable to share, because I believe that is what helps people, the sharing on that vulnerable, safe space. So thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
So right now I'd like to give my guests an opportunity to share more about how they can be found, in case you'd like to hear more about them.
Sure. I'm Tony Phillips, and you can find me at Anthony Phillips on Facebook or LinkedIn.
I am English Norman, and you can find me at Eclef Music and Productions on Facebook, English Norman on Facebook, and at Just English on Instagram.
Hey guys, I'm Ty Norman. You can learn more about the story at www.free2live.com, or you can follow me on Facebook. I am facebook.com/testimony monologues with an S.
Awesome.